living such a blessing. Explain to me what death is. Like, is it just a curse of living in reverse? If so, why am I stressing? I got a lot of life ahead. At least that's what they tell me. But if it were just all to end tomorrow, why would you sell me the dream? Just to cut me out the picture. Why sell me the dream? And why'd I buy it hook, line, and sinker? If living's such a blessing, then what's the use in heaven? Just send it down to earth and let us know our worth. Relieve some of this tension. You say that I'm important. Well, there's people here that need me. Well, there's people I needed too, yeah. And all they did was sell me a dream. Just to cut me out the picture. Why sell me the dream? And why'd I buy it hook, line, and sinker? So living's such a blessing. It really almost had me fooled. 'Cause those were your words to me. But you don't believe them, do you? 'Cause if living's such a blessing, then why'd you give it up so soon? Don't tell me there's a lesson. The only thing I learned is I wish you'd take me with you. Instead of selling me a dream, just to cut me out the picture. Why sell me the dream? Why'd I buy it hook, line, and sinker? Why sell me the dream? Hey, what that do for you? Why sell me the dream? They can't come true. Why sell me the dream? Why sell me the dream? What that do for you? Why sell me the dream? Yeah, it can't come true. If living's such a blessing, why'd you give it up so soon? Don't tell me there's a lesson. The only thing I learned is that I miss you.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Symone Titania, and you are back for another episode of the NBC.
So, yeah, it's all been all these.
And today we have a very special guest at the NDC, and I'm super excited to welcome Xaire. What's up?
What's going on? I'm happy to be here.
Yes, we're happy to have you, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, and so actor, composer, singer.
Yeah.
Like, let's go through all your titles. Let's go through all your titles.
I think you pretty much covered it.
Okay.
You know, just musician.
All around
I love music.
musician.
Yeah, that's really it. That's really it for me. Music and acting.
Yeah. And have you always been an artist, or are you just breaking into that?
I wouldn't say always. Actually, I would say always, because I feel like everyone's an artist always, whether they, identify it as that or not. But I'd say when I started like fully getting into arts was high school.
Okay.
Yeah, I dabbled in middle school, but it wasn't really something I was interested in.
Right.
But I really fell in love with it in high school.
Okay. Did you go to a public school?
I did. I
Nice.
went to Dillard. So it was performing arts, but it's public school.
Very cool.
I was in theater there. That's when I started writing poetry as well. I went in poetry club. Shout out Miss Lake.
Hey, Miss Lake.
Yeah, hey, Miss Lake, how you doing? But yes, that's how I got my start.
Very good. I love to hear those type of stories because to me, art is so important and vital to be in schools. And the fact that they were like taking them out the schools and not really offering those programs, it's just like, I don't think they understand exactly what they're doing for the development of that human being that's in school.
That's crazy because when I got started in it, that was when it was starting. Like they were chipping away.
Yeah.
Like so, I got in theater in sophomore year, and I just watched it each year. Like more and more was taken away from it. We had to work with less and less, which I guess kind of benefited me in the long run. You know, being able to adjust to that, but at the same time, wasn't fair that we had to do that as kids. So.
Yeah, I agree. And with you knowing that and being a phenomenal artist now, do you give back to the students?
Oh yeah, I work with an amazing nonprofit ran by one of my mentors, the Art Prevails Project. I get to go into schools, parks, after school programs, juvenile detention centers, and teach poetry, teach expression, teach how to be comfortable in expression, which is something that a lot of kids struggle with, especially in those environments. But yeah, so I definitely try and give back as much as I can.
Now, you as an artist, oh my gosh, I saw you perform as an actor.
Yeah.
And I mean, you literally made me cry. I was boo-hooing from your performance because it was so good and so relatable. And what is that process like for you to get into a role as an actor?
It's different with each role. I'd say for that performance, I believe you're talking about was Seeking.
Yes, for Seeking.
Yeah, so that the role, not in its entirety, but for a good portion of it was written with me in mind to play that part. So the adjustment period wasn't that long for that one. It was more so just trying to find ways to distinguish myself from the character so that I could, still have that, input as an actor. But for other roles, for the more challenging roles, it takes research. I was in a retelling of The Merchant of Venice by Shakespeare. And for my role for that, The Merchant of Venice, the original text is my mother's favorite Shakespeare play. So I got to ask her some questions about like why it was her favorite and what, led to her having those feelings watching that, and that helped with my portrayal of the character. So.
And in that type of performance and then that type of gearing up to be vulnerable like that on stage, if it is like something that's based on you, what are you doing in your music as well, like in the vulnerability aspect of that when you're writing and putting that all out on the table for us to hear?
So at first, it was more so with poetry that I would share that vulnerable side. With music, when I first got started, it was just about the feeling of it. I loved sounds.
Yeah.
So that was more so what my music was when I got started, was experimenting with the sound. I wasn't really too concerned about what I was actually saying.
Right.
But over the past year and a half to 2 years, I've really had a few moments writing music where I was deep into the lyrics of it, trying to tap into that vulnerability that I had performing poetry. And I feel like it's I feel like it's made me better as an artist. It's opened me up to finding new ways to express myself. I felt like I trapped myself in one way for a long time.
And that would be, which way would you say you were trapped in?
With poetry,
Poetry.
Especially considering the age I got started in it, how I got started in it.
Right.
It became sort of like a crutch.
Yeah.
To the point where at first I was using it for expression, and then afterwards I was using it as an excuse to tell people that I had expressed. I had not. So.
And so you have music out now.
Yes.
And we can listen to it on Spotify.
Yep, Spotify, Apple Music, all of that.
Okay. And what is that like for you, having to put your music out on Spotify and iTunes? Do you feel like you can connect to your audience that way, or is it a challenge for you at all?
It is, but I will forever be appreciative of the opportunity to do that, because it's like, you know, the movie Inside Out, or is Inside Out or In and Out, or Inside Out? It's a Disney movie. Yeah.
Okay, tell me about
like
it.
Emotions. Basically, it's about this girl, and she has like there are little characters in her head that represent different emotions. So they're the decisions that they're making are like influencing her life and how she's responding to situations and whatnot. And there's these things called core memories that are like vital to who you are. And the first time I ever like uploaded a song to everything, it's like a core memory. I was working at a group home, and I literally had just finished the song in my bedroom, and then went out to start my shift, and then sat down at the laptop after I'd finished preparing breakfast for the kids.
Wow.
And they were eating their breakfast, and I was like with my coworker who produces. His name is Harlem Beats. He's amazing. But yeah, he was helping me. He was showing me how to do it, and then we uploaded my song, and then we played it on the TV. We played it on the TV for the kids. It was the first time they were hearing it, and they were like, "Oh, this is really good, Mr. Dutt." And I was like, "Oh, I appreciate that." And I sent them off to school because I was tired of it.
Wow, you inspired them, and then said, "Okay, now go to school. Remember this." Oh, hey, what's up, guys? We are right here at WUUL Studios. This is where we are shooting The Indie Seat. And we want to thank WUUL Studios so much because they are one of our community supporters, and we appreciate all our community supporters. If you're an artist or business looking for a place to shoot anything that you can think of, they can do it, okay? So hit up WUUL Studios. They do hourly rentals, and you can book it right on their website. It's really simple, WUULstudios.com. Thank y'all so much. Again, check out WUUL Studios, and make sure you're checking out The Indie Seat too, all right? All right, y'all. Peace. Thank you. What is that like for you, putting your music out and seeing people's reactions, like seeing the children's reactions? And
man, seeing the kids' reaction was special because of how you know the connection I had with them. My favorite reaction was with a song that I performed here, Buyer's Remorse, because when I wrote that song, it was a really weird feeling. Like the idea behind the song was, you know, people that I had lost, and my thought process was, how dare you die? It felt weird to think that way.
Right.
Because it's not their fault.
It's not.
Everybody got to do it.
Right.
Like, how dare you die,
Right.
knowing that I need you right now?
Wow.
Like, how selfish are you?
Wow.
And that's where that song came from, which, again, silly thought, but it was so real. But I felt, in the moment, I felt like it was just me feeling that way. And then the first time I performed it, seeing how viscerally everybody just immediately responded to the lyrics specifically was a really comforting feeling. So yeah, that's been like my goal with how people react to my songs. I want it to strike a chord.
Wow, and I think a lot of people can really connect to your music too, because there's one thing that's constant in life. Well, there's change, but then there's also something that's coming for us, which is death. Yeah. And some of us have dealt with that one way or another. And so for you to be open to sing about that, people are going to be able to connect to that, you know? And I can definitely tell that you get lost in it too. Like, do you go back to those emotions, or are you just...
Every time. I cannot help it.
You can't help it.
I wish I could, because there's been a lot of times where like I've been in the middle, somewhere where I really should just be a performer and then leave. But then it turns into kind of like a makeshift therapy session.
Yeah, for sure.
For me and whoever else is in the room, because you have to be a part of it now.
And you're a storyteller too. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
And maybe that comes from your poetry, all those years of poetry.
Sure. Definitely. That's where I learned to tell stories is through poetry. I loved hearing stories always.
Wow.
But I was never much of a writer because of extenuating circumstances. I felt very uncomfortable reading out loud, writing in general. Slow, very slow.
Got you.
But yeah, because I had the time to really sit down and think about what I wanted to put on the I say paper, but I was on the computer.
Right.
It really gave me the confidence to put my all into it because I knew that I wasn't rushed. And that's really what got me started in writing.
So you have like a dream performance?
Ooh, a dream performance. You know what? No.
Okay.
I don't.
That's rare to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't because the dream is performing.
Ooh.
Like that's always been it. Like and it's weird because I never thought that would be the dream as a kid because I was very shy. I did not like being in front of people. But then I got like a small taste of it. And then ever since that moment, every performance has been the dream because I just feel lucky to be on the stage. So.
And if you could offer any advice right now, there's a young person watching you, there's an inspiring artist watching you right now. If you can give them any advice to continue with what they're doing, what type of advice would you give them?
I would say take your time. You don't have to accomplish it all in one go. You can split it up into sections. You can compartmentalize. It's your art. It's your work. No one is forcing you to do it all at once because I know that can get overwhelming. Take your time. Split it up.
All right, y'all. You heard it here first. Make sure you take your time and watch this video, subscribe and like. And thank you so much for watching another episode of The Indie Seat. See y'all next time. Peace.
A writer sits, numb, paralytic, perplexed, vexed over tainted pages painted with 2/3 of a story. An unfinished allegory poorly pieced together, scattered over a diner table, positioned perfectly beneath pastel coral lamp, extruding lackluster light, reflected off the sweat trickling down the side of his face, adjacent to his worry lines. Don't worry. Lines will come to your mind soon enough, he says, attempting to convince himself of what he is not certain, his pen now running out of ink. Just think. It's completely up to you. The story ends exactly how you want it to. He has no clue how he wants it to. Just that he does, yearns to jump to a conclusion, but nothing seems correct, unable to connect the dots, the thoughts in his mind, knowing it can dine enough for the culmination of this, so far his greatest work, and a masterpiece of this magnitude demands to go out with a bang and... A bang. Maybe. He jots down his brief stint of inspiration, determined to quell the seemingly insatiable hunger to cap his previously written climax, which eloquently chronicles the activities of a young man, flirting with adulthood, with complex complexion, kindred to that of dark berries, once sweet, made bitter from years of oppression. He reclines in his car at a stoplight, sits solitary on a road forgotten, and waits for a green light that he may never see, because in that instant, he's bombarded with flashing red and blue lights. In the dead of night, he's frightened by the soundtrack of the African-American horror story. Sirens sing lullabies of almost certain death. His hands begin to quake as if tectonic plates were shifting in his wrist. His grip on the wheel tightens. He's frightened, and rightfully so. Coffins and cops correlate far too commonly for him not to be. Hashtag RIP, fill in the black is engraved in his mind, and there are far too many graves on his mind for him to think that maybe he just has a faulty taillight. The only thing he thinks is he might lose his life tonight. He's frightened, even though he knows what to do. Be respectful. Don't look him directly in the eyes. Try not to raise your voice. Speak only when spoken to. Call mom. Tell her you love her. Repent one last time just in case. He's rehearsed the scenario 1,000,000 times in his mind just in case, but just because he's prepared, that doesn't mean he's ready. He rubbernecks to see the officer already looming over his car, casting a shadow like strange fruit from trees. He sees the flashlight slowly ascend to the window. Tap. Tap. He inhales, exhales. Unsure of whether to expect Jekyll or Hyde, he reaches to wind the window down and ellipses. 3 dots stand in place of the young man's fate. The writer concedes, retreats to his home, eagerly awaiting early morning inspiration. Damn. I hate cliffhangers.
What's up, guys? That's right, it's your girl Symone Titania, and I am in the building today to tell you about our sponsor, Epiphanii. Epiphanii hair and body care products is my go-to, okay? A lot of y'all be reaching out to me about my hair, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, this is what makes me do what I do and be great even on those days that I am waking up for the indie seat and can't be great. I just spray myself with a little Ajabu spray. This has a little bit of tea tree, aloe, and everything you need to keep you fresh for your body and your hair. This right here, this is the shea butter, okay? It's Ajabu shea butter, and yes, you can use them both together. I use it for my hair and for my body. This is to set my styles when I do my braid outs, my twists, to keep my feet moisturized, if you know what I mean. And this right here, everyone can use. This is a little bit of light and breezy oil, and you could put this on your face. Singers, you can even put this a little bit on your fingers and put it right up in your throat, and it just relaxes you right before your performance. And this is called light and breezy oil. Anyway, I just wanted to come straight to you guys because I get the question all the time, but this is the answer, okay? Epiphanii hair and body care products made right here in Miami, Florida by a beautiful Black woman, okay? And make sure you support EpiphaniiHairandBodyCare.com. Thank you so much for always supporting us, Epiphanii. Peace.